Gender is an artificial concept made up by John Money in the 1960s. There are no genders, there are two sexes, and there are unlimited personalities.
So this is how words work. We have an idea of a concept, in this case, gender. Think a thing exists. And we say, does this thing exist? Let's test it. And then they give a name to that thing, right? Citing the first time the word gender was used is not a way of saying that it doesn't exist. That'd be like if I said, oh, well, they didn't start using the word physics until about 500 years ago. Therefore, it's just made up. Some guy just made it up. Does that mean if I throw a ball, it goes backwards of the direction I threw it? No. Didn't have a name for the concept before we studied it. That's how every word we have has come into existence. Scientists and researchers, people a lot smarter than you and me, and especially smarter than Charlie Kirk, have an idea. And this idea is called a hypothesis. In this case, the hypothesis is gender exists and is a social construct separate than biological sex. And then what they do is they set up an experiment or a piece of research. And they say, before they perform the experiment, that if my results come back looking like this, it will support my hypothesis. And if they don't, it doesn't support it. It doesn't mean it's not true. It just means that in this one particular instance, my hypothesis was not supported. And then they perform those experiments and analyze the results. We have robust statistical methods. Oh. What? And we have robust statistical methods to analyze the relationship between our results and between our hypothesis and say, does it support our hypothesis or is it biased by something and therefore we can't use it? And so the fact that the medical and scientific consensus today, still 65, 70 years later, is that gender is a social construct means that academics and scientists have been trying to overturn that idea and undermine that idea all this time and have been unable to do so. This is how consensus works, right? It's a broad understanding by the field that a thing is true. Climate change is not a hoax. That's a scientific consensus. Gender is a social construct, and trans people are not automatically mentally ill, as defined by the literal manual on mental illness. Gender is a part of your identity, meaning it's how you perceive you relative to these social roles that exist. That's it. Charlie loves to talk about how he didn't go to college, and yet he's still able to have educated conversations. And yet if he went to college, he would have learned all these things I'm saying. That's because college isn't just about memorizing a list of facts like he wants you to believe it is. It's about learning about the processes and methods we use to get those facts. And so he wants you to think college is a scam because when you go to college, you start feeling empathy and you start critically thinking. And those two things will make you stop being conservative.